I'm happy to report for the first time in many years we have no open FAA grants. Grant 26 is now closed, and we had confirmation from the FAA that they've received that and it is closed. And that was reflected in the finance report earlier for our last invoicing of FAA. Now we're on to grant 29 because we previously closed grant 27 and 28, and now we're waiting for award of grant 29. And we'll bring that back to the board once we see the amounts that the FAA is willing to fund, and that'll tell us which one of the base bids and the 3 options we approve going forward. Did I leave anything out?
You got MPUD update.
MPUD from the previous page. Met with B. Coy, Mr. Coy, the general manager of the utility district again, and we have agreed to do 2 things, and he has a board meeting, I believe he said Thursday evening, and he's seeking approval from his board to install a flow meter in the sewage south outflow from the airport to be the cost to be borne by the utility district. I have agreed not to exceed $25,000 to pay for chemistry reading and sampling of outflow from the airport, and we're going to use this data over the next 4 to 6 months. I believe both those systems will be installed in the September, October, early October timeframe. And we're going to use the data on this, and we're going to use it collectively together with our civil engineers to see just exactly what the rate of, so we buy so much water coming in, how much is actually going down the sewer pipe and going in to the utility district sewer. Currently, we operate under contract with the utility district. And when I read the contract that was signed in 1991, the first thing I did is, why do we have a contract? And none of us, including me, could answer the question. And so then I read the Assembly Bill, Senate Bill 218? Proposition 218, that amended the rates that utility districts could charge users and fees, and it supersedes some of the language in our basic contract with the utility district of 91. So B and I met on this yesterday, and we certainly agree that the district ought to pay for water coming in, which we do, and we ought to pay for service on the sewage going out, and we ought to know what's in it. And so we both have a vested interest in knowing the answers to all of those, and so we've agreed on the type of a flow meter going out and the chemistry analysis. We learned yesterday, ironically, that maybe the reason we have a contract with the utility district is because their largest customer isn't in their district. That's us. The district boundaries of the utility district have us as an island within their district, but they're not, it doesn't overlap. It's not like Cal City is part of our district and we share a common geography. It's an odd case. So maybe that's the reason we have a contract. We don't know. So we're going to leave that to the 2 attorneys. We're all having, this is something we're just trying to get right. And the reason is, I contend that it's imperative that this special district have very positive and well understood relationships with at least 2 other public agencies in the local area. The Planning Commission of Kern County and the local utility district. Frankly, I don't think we can operate without a positive relationship with either one. And so when you boil it all down, do we need a contract? If we do, we'll have one, and I think the one we currently have is close. We may be able to say, yep, it rolls forward every 5 years, it renews, and it's up for, we can terminate it, I believe, on either by October 1, but we've agreed that we may not mutually have the data to know whether we need to continue it, by October 1. So we're going to gather the data and we're going to reconvene in January to hash this out. I know there's too much data, but this is a very healthy discussion I'm having with the utility district. We're their biggest customer, and yet we're not in their district. And we utilize their water and we put sewage in their sewage ponds. It's an interesting arrangement, and we're just trying to get it right because I want it to supersede me or B, because the relationship we have right now is very positive. It hasn't always been that way on my watch. And we just want to make sure we have the construct and it's set up to where it will continue independent of the general managers at each organization. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm really happy to report we're on the right path. And I want it to be data driven. And then the third thing we've agreed to do is set up a mutual aid memorandum of understanding. B currently has 9 employees. We need a water district that can assist us from time to time when we have unexpected events, water breaks, surges. We've dealt with so many different things, and because the relationship wasn't always positive, sometimes you got help, sometimes you got ignored. And B has 9 employees, and he has a mandate currently from the state of California, love these, to reduce his water sell by 25%. Well, how does he make money? He makes money by selling water. And he has plenty of water in his district, yet he's still mandated under the current emergency ordinance in California to cut his usage 25%. So if he cuts his usage 25%, his revenue just went down 25%. So he's dealing with some issues that could easily drive him into personnel issues just from lost revenue from sale of water. Well, that's not good for us, because now our supplier of water is in a deficit situation. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. We're trying to find ways that are equitable. We need the water, we need the sewage, we need a positive relationship, and we want the data we come up with to drive how we set the fee structure going forward.
Who's in these, who besides you is in these meetings with B?
Well, at one of our board meetings, we had Tom Pear, who's a member of his board.
Well, I mean from the staff.
Oh, Dave Russell, civil engineer, Kevin. You've been involved with them. I don't think you've been in the room with us, but you certainly know their attorney and you're in discussion.
The reason I'm asking is that this isn't resolved by 1 January, the new guy's going to inherit this.
We're going to have a construct figured out, because if you remember when we went through the budget drill, we didn't know the number to put in for water and sewage because we knew those rates were under evaluation. Didn't we put in a $300,000 wedge? Mm-hmm. An unknown? Well,
again, my point is, I would like to recommend that you ensure somebody in the staff is fully backed up with you on this subject so that we have.
And Al, we are. Karina's in this every step of the way. Dave Russell, Kevin, were you in that meeting yesterday?
I was out yesterday.
You were out.
Been in everything
But
else.
Dave, and yeah, we're in this together. And all I want to do is, I don't want the next person to inherit a rhubarb sandwich with utilities that I did when I walked in here. The former general manager and the general manager of the utility district didn't speak. And that was not a good way to start when you need water and you need to process your sewage, and our businesses are growing. Anyway.
So Karina's responsible if you're not here?
Yes, sir. Okay, and she knows everything I know on this. Okay. Yeah, we're working this hand in glove.
Want to make sure we got.
Yep.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
You started to go down the track of maybe mutual aid between the two districts, and you didn't. You kind of
Okay,
got
let me tell you why. Right now, Harold, we have 5 people in the maintenance department?
Correct.
Okay, and B has 9 total employees with the utility district. If we have a major valve break and Lyles and WM Lyles can't come over from Bakersfield to respond, we got to figure it out on our own. If the utility district in town has a break, and in our maintenance shop we've got the bands and the band-aids and all the couplings you have, because we all keep equipment, I want B to be able to call us up and say, send us a guy, a truck, and a coupling. Because if that water district gets shut down in Mojave, guess who pays the price? We do. We're the biggest customer on this end of the system. So it's in our best interest to have a mutual aid agreement. And then if we have a break, I mean, since B's been on board, he's been right there in the holes with us on the tractors and shown up with equipment. I said, let's formalize it. Let's actually do what we talked about doing a year or so ago and make it all part of this agreement. But let's start operating like we are, because it's in, I don't want to wake up someday and find out our business is being interrupted because of a lack of a relationship or some formal agreement with a supplier that we desperately need is critical to our business. It's not just us anymore, it's 2,000 other people and 70 companies out here. Make sense?
We have this already set up with the county and the fire, don't we? Mutual aid.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I mean, there's no
But
reason to
there's
not-
no reason not to have it with a local, and I
Sure.
think it's probably more important than ever. So that's where we're headed. I think it's nothing but positive, and I really want to applaud B. He put a spotlight on this subject. We took a step back. We've asked for a lot of data. They've complied with our requests. They've provided the data. We've given each other time to go through it, and this is where we are. Do you have any comments? Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I got really isolated infrastructure as far as water and sewer goes from
It is now. Harold, you're gonna have to help me out here. I believe when I came here, we didn't have backflow preventers going
Correct.
back to the city.
Correct.
Now we do, at both points. In our budget, we had $250,000 this year to install a pressure reducing valve on the west side water end. And is that an 8-inch or is that an 8-inch or a 12-inch line? 24-inch line, okay. But we're going to get that done sometime. We're going to plan for it and get that going sometime in the December to February time frame. Now, I don't know if it's ever going to break, but I know if that thing fails, we've got a problem. And that's what I told you in the budget. We wanted to plan for it. We know when we put the water system in the GA airport and rerouted some of the water, we know right where it plumbs in. We know where we're going to pull it. B's been briefed on it. We went over that with him again yesterday. I want his team involved with the installation of that critical pressure reducing system and line. It's a short run of line. But I want us to have an agreement where we're working together when that goes in. It's backed up by a line that's currently the meter's off, right? That was at 8-inch? 6-inch.
It's not off, but it's just not used.
It's not used. So anyway, I think we're making positive headway on this.
Is there any shared training?
Well, there's shared training at the artisan level of the people fixing the water lines.
At the event level.
And at the event level, and there's certainly been a transfer of knowledge with B as the general manager to and us, and Harold serves on that board. I just think we've made a real positive step, and I don't want to leave that to chance before I leave. Okay, I think we beat this horse to death, but I wanted a full report on that. There were elements of the budget. There were fees that were unknowns. We put a huge wedge in there. We've now bound that. It's $25,000 is the bounding on what we didn't know was going to be $300 for the first 6 months. And we'll have the data to know how we're going to go forward. That's it. Okay.
And those of us who live here are really concerned about this, and I really admire what you're doing. It was not only you that they didn't get along with, they didn't get along with Cal City, with some of the previous people in that district. And B, I've known B all his life, just about, and he's been with that district just about all his life, and he has really blossomed in that position, and I think you can be thanked for some of that. The Southern Pacific Yard at one time was not in the district either. I don't know whether they're still in there, whether they ever or not. Back when they formed the district in the late 30s, you know, the railroad, they always wanted part of that. And there's a couple of funny stories over the years about how that backfired on it. But anyway, congratulations. I think this is good. And you too, Harold. I've known you all your life too. These two guys live next door to each other, just about.